Alright, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nokuhle and today's episode is all about me flying to America as well as just settling in.
Hello stranger, it's been a minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky ruin my vibe. Usually I don't do this often, but since recruiting isn't an option due to unusual rain and thunder, baby I wonder, put your sweats on for me.
Okay, first things first, this was my first international flight. Okay, no wait, not first international, but first overseas flight. Because apparently when you fly to like Botswana, it doesn't count. But anyways, I think it's still overseas. But this was my first overseas where I crossed the sea. Cool, we flew from Johannesburg to Newark. And then from Newark, I was going to fly to Philadelphia. So it wasn't a straight flight.
Okay, let's actually go back. So remember I had to pack up my stuff, so I put everything in storage. Hated this process. And then I was bonding with my younger brother. I think separation anxiety was kicking us. And then my family threw me a bit of a going away braai/prayer. Bye. And then this is just a message from my nieces because I'm a mamncane. So because I'm from Pietermaritzburg, I actually had to pack my bags and fly to Johannesburg. And then from Johannesburg, I was going to fly to America.
At the airport, my family's sitting right there. Oh gosh, they're taking a selfie.
Now that I was in Joburg with 6 days to go until my first day in the US, I knew it was time to get ready. This whole time I was like, oh my word, am I really going to America? But when I finally got to Joburg, it finally started feeling like, you know what? So here I am just, taking advantage of the fact that this is not my bed. And then I left the hotel and it was time to go to the airport, finally about to go on my first big girl trip.
The international flight was fine, man. Like before I boarded, I arrived at the airport super early. I have never missed a flight in my life and I wasn't about to start on an international flight, okay? So I arrived super early, had dinner with my friends, had a long call with my dad, and he was telling me random tips about how I need to walk barefoot on the plane so that I don't get jet lagged.
Okay. Alright, Mama, thank you.
Also call my mom.
Thank you, Mom. I'll be on WhatsApp even on the flight. So, yeah. Okay, Shop. Love you. Bye. My mom was very awkward with all of these.
And then we went through, going through the international airport like an SA is fine. It's just that it's super long. So like, don't spend a lot of time on this side with your family hugging and kissing because you will miss your flight. It literally takes a good 45 minutes just to get through all those stampings and them checking through your bags. We couldn't take any liquids. Like, I thought we can't take liquids that we bought like before we crossed over. so I didn't have any. But when I crossed over and I bought like a liquid in the duty-free zone, they made me leave it off the flight. Like I couldn't board the flight, and I bought a Powerade. I hadn't even touched it, so I thought, these people are trying to scam me from my Powerade. So I opened it and I chugged just a little, just to make sure that no one could take like a fresh Powerade. Got onto my flight. Luckily I was flying with a couple of my colleagues, so it was like a couple of familiar faces, which is kind of reassuring because it's a 16-hour flight. And it's nice to see faces that you recognize, even though I wasn't friends with anyone. Like I didn't know anyone like that. I just knew them from like Skype, you know.
As you can see, I'm passing through business class. Kumnandi, abantu bahleli ngawani. And then we move into, I think this is like I don't know what it is, but it's just before the basic economy that I was in. This is where we sat, lots of seats, as you can see.
Anyways, we flew. The flight was okay. They served us a couple of like meals, and it was like a nice itinerary which told us, okay, you're gonna get like your supper, then a light meal, then a snack, then, you know. So that was kind of cool.
Time to get comfortable. I was browsing through the movies. The catalog was kind of old, so I ended up settling for The Princess Diaries.
I did a lot of walking on the plane. Thank God I was sitting on the edge because I wanted to explore, okay? It was my first time on such a big plane, so I was, you know, taking it all in because I knew I was going to have to come back and tell you guys what it was like. So it was okay. It was just like any other flight, to be quite honest, just that it was big and obviously more people in the flight. But it was kind of empty, which is great because then it meant that no one had someone sitting right on top of them. So all of our middle rows were kind of empty, so it was always like 2 people in a 3-seater, which was amazing. I could put stuff on the side, and you know, funny enough, the person who was on the other side was Lindiwe, but at the time Lindiwe and I didn't really know each other. I just knew that we both worked at the same place, so it was just like a hi, and then we continued doing whatever we were doing. Little did we know we would actually become friends, but anyways, you know, fate. Oh my gosh. By the way, can you tell I just got my hair done? That's why I'm like swinging like I'm in my Beyonce era. Thank you very much. I am Sasha Fierce. All right.
I contemplate about how I feel, but you make it way too hard to think that this could be what you love. It took a lot of hard shit just to learn.
And then when we finally landed 16 hours later, I hadn't slept much, if I'm being honest, because obviously we left quite late in Joburg, so I thought, oh my word, I'm going to sleep immediately. But I was just like so excited but also anxious, so like I couldn't really sleep.
So just before we left, it actually started raining and our pilot and related people weren't expecting it. So they kind of had to like reshuffle how our luggage was. They had to move things around. So we left later than expected.
I probably slept, let's see, in a 16-hour flight. Was it 16 hours? It could be 14. I can't remember. But it was quite long. I think I slept like 3 times, but like it was always like for 2 hours, and then I'd be up and I'd be eating. And there was a point where I said no thank you to the food because I was just like, no, I'm lying. I took all the food on my flight there, but on my flight back, I said no thanks to the food because, I was fed up. But anyways, let's move right along. We landed in Newark. Amazing. I'm in America. This is amazing. I'm trying to take pictures because I'm trying to tell my family I'm in America. But like when you just landed, just before you get stamped in, like it's very like strict. You can't really take pictures because that's where like they do like the border control. So I decided, okay, no, it's fine. I'm gonna be in America for a long time, so even if I don't get pictures now, I'll get them later on. Little did I know that I was going to have issues at the border control. Let me tell you what happened. So when I went to my US visa interview, I got approved and stuff. But then my work contract said I was going to start on the 9th of Jan. Great. But then on my visa, it said I was allowed in America from the 9th of Jan. Which kind of makes sense because they just looked at the contract, so they just used the same date. But actually, they should have said at least the 7th, or like they should have given me a week to actually arrive into America. Because basically, this thing was saying that you can't be in America until you actually start working, and I can't work if I'm not in America. So what happened was when I tried to get stamped in, I got stopped because there was something wrong with my visa. Obviously, I knew what it was, but I didn't think it was a big deal. But unfortunately, it was just me because Lindiwe and all my other colleagues, their people actually gave them access to the US from like their visa date. So we all went for our visa appointments in November. They were actually allowed to be in America from November and then 5 years later. But for me, my visa thing actually said I should only be in America from the 9th of January. I think my person just used my contract, to be quite honest. But because of that issue, now that I'd landed on the 7th, 2 days before I was allowed inside America, it looked like I was trying to, you know, do funny things and enter the country before I'm actually allowed to. But it wasn't really a big deal. And obviously this guy's like, oh, I see what's happening. Let me see if your friend, which was Lindiwe, let me see if your friend has the same issue. Oh, no, they don't. Okay, cool, no, just follow me. I thought at this point I were chilled. Little did I know that when this nice guy handed me over, they treated me like I had tried to smuggle things in. Literally was like, follow me, ma'am. No. And then they put me into like this area. Like, I don't want to say we were detained because then it makes it seem like we had like a grill, like a cell. No, it wasn't like that. But we were put in this place, and obviously it's my first time on an international flight, so I was a bit like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And I thought it wasn't anything really. I thought, oh come on, they can see that I have work on Monday, so I'm landing on Saturday just so I can prepare, you know. But they put me in this room, and this room, it was like no cell phones, no talking, like nothing can be done. So I'm sitting there and I'm scanning the room, and for the first time in my life, okay, maybe not in my life, but like, it's very rare for us as South Africans, as black people, to be in a room where there's no other black person. And that was the case where I was being held. There were no black people. It was just like, I think they're called Latinas or Puerto Ricans, or, you know, yeah, it was just those type of people in there. And like, you can't be on your phone. I had an analog watch at the time, like a fossil watch, and the time was wrong. It was still telling me South African time, and I knew that Philadelphia was 7 hours behind, but I didn't know what Newark was because I was only meant to be in Newark for a couple of hours and I was meant to be out, you know, so I didn't bother researching about Newark. So I was like, I do not know what time I got detained, you know. I'm being very dramatic. It wasn't like, you know, I'm being very dramatic, but I don't know what time I got pulled to the side. I don't know anyone. I'm trying to look around. They are shouting. People were on their phones. They're like, hey, no phones. Can't you read? I was like, yo, okay, definitely can't touch my phone. Can't tell people, hey guys, I'm actually here. So then I started writing in my little pink diary. And guys, I wrote, I'm actually gonna tell you guys what I meant in every single line that I wrote, because I was like, I want to remember this if I get out of it. I was obviously hopeful, but you know.
So it's the date, and then I said Ngipesheya, which was the title, meaning I'm abroad. First point is how ngavele ngaboshwa lol, and then I was like ngazala because, you know, I wasn't actually arrested. And then I explained that it's the validity dates as per my contracts that was like messing me up. Then I said iminak peludaki, which means I'm the only black person. Then I said it looks like a government office. In fact, it looks like a police station. Then I was like, only one person is working. And then I was like, there's a lot of us. And then I said there's CN Bougie, which I wanted to say that there's someone who had a BBL done. Literally, she couldn't sit properly because she still had a BBL. She was in recovery. Then there was like a family, and the kid was crying and the dad doesn't listen. Then I said my fossil watch, the time was behind. And then I said people are being called to the side. Even if you can't understand what this person is saying, I can hear a voice, like you can hear when someone is pleading or begging. And like there were a lot of people who were begging there, so I could hear it. Then I said no makale kukwini, which means no cell phones. And then I said Ngsaba Desngisi. So I was writing in my diary in Zulu because I was scared that they might confiscate my diary. So I was like, if they do, rather they don't even understand what I'm even writing. And then I said amapasi mibala ehlukahlukene, which means like all of the passports that were there were like a lot of different colors. And I keep waiting for a green one, which is like my South African passport. And then I said, eSouth akugcwele umbatha la oqonqa baphethe umthetho, which kind of means that in South Africa, a lot of the law enforcement are black people, but in America, a lot of the law enforcement were like white people. And then I said, ngiyasaba kancane ngoba angikwazi ukuthinta umakhalekhukhwini, which means I'm scared a bit because I can't use my phone. And then I was like, okay, kade lihlaza wamgelekile ekhaya, which means that people were actually given their green cards, which is why there were a lot of Puerto Ricans, Latinas and stuff. I'm assuming they came from Mexico, so a lot of them were getting their green cards and being welcomed into the country. And then the last point was lo wavelatati kefumunu, which means the only officer that was working actually took a break whilst we were still in there. So I was very stressed because I had a connecting flight and I didn't know how long this thing was going to take.
Anyways, I finally got released, and then I met up with my colleagues and we all had like our first meal in America. It was like some random burger joint, and we were all quite disappointed. It was super expensive, let me tell you. I think the burger was like $16, and obviously airport stuff is expensive, but $16 times 17.4, because that's what the rate was 278 rand. Okay, I was not impressed. I didn't even get chips with my burger because I was like, hey boo, 400 rand. And then I got a Coke, but then I didn't get a Coke in a bottle. I got it in a in a sippy cup because I was just like, in a bottle is so expensive. But yeah, and then I video called my parents just to let them know that, listen guys, I finally landed. And they're like, oh yay. And then I told them that, hey guys, I actually had a lot of issues at border control. And then obviously, but I was like, no, but I was fine. I kind of downplayed it. I didn't want to stress my parents like 16 hours into me being in America, so I kind of downplayed it, but I was really scared. Like at that point I was like, I wish my dad would come and fetch me, because what is this? Anyways,
No matter what I've seen in the past, I won't let it impact how we grow now, baby.
After having last taken a shower more than 24 hours ago, I decided to just go to the restroom just to freshen up. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, and cleared off any makeup that I had been wearing.
I know you got me falling from the ceiling for you. Knew right from the start there was no limit to you.
Manje sengiyalizwa ishweza. Azakodwa. Nginomqolo yonke into nje. Is that all right?
and then we went into our hotel. So we checked in, and yeah, let me just show you guys what our hotel looked like.
So I was sharing my apartment with someone else. Welcome to apartment 601. This is our kitchen, living room area. This is our view. It wasn't really much. We just saw a lot of traffic, to be quite honest. And then this was my flatmate's room and bathroom. And then this is the kitchen area. They gave us like a fully furnished apartment, so we had all the furniture, all the pots and pans, glasses, the works. Dishwasher, fridge. It was so empty, my goodness. And then this was my room. So I had a separated bathroom, but it was low-key linked, so it wasn't bad. Like, I was scared that because it's not an en-suite, I thought I'd have to like walk out, but it was actually linked. They gave us a laundry basket, and my shower was like a bath shower. And my favorite part of this whole apartment was probably the mirror. I loved this mirror.
So in Philadelphia, I was placed with 2 other people. We were all women, so when we kind of checked in, we all like decided, okay, let's go get some supper. And we had Wendy's. I think we had Wendy's the first night. They kind of enjoyed their meal. I was still a bit, you know, disappointed. And then at this point, I started to think that maybe I'm the problem. I'm like, maybe I'm sick, because why am I not enjoying any of these meals? But now that I think about it, I think they ordered chicken burgers and I had a beef burger. So maybe there's something wrong with the beef. But now that I've been to America and I've tried a lot of the meals, I know that it's just American food. It's not Wendy's. It's not the beef option. It's just America. All right, cool. Anyways, we went to bed quite early because we were like, you know, we were tired. And then I woke up at 1 a.m. because I was tired of sleeping. We were jet lagged. And you know, I didn't know what jet lag was. I'd hear them say it like in High School Musical, like Sharpay would always be like, I'm gonna be jet lagged or whatever. But I didn't really understand what it was. But when I finally experienced it, I was like, oh my word, this is awful. Like, I'm actually tired. I do want to sleep, but my body is just like, wake up, time to play is
I got the plug, I made the call for me. I'm talking late night for ya. Let me lay a great time on ya. Don't hesitate, no, don't you?